Hi everyone, I know you've been waiting for chapter 17 and here it is. It's called The Emergency Plan. After I had posted the letter, I felt as if 1,000 worms and butterflies and frogs had all jumped into my tummy and were wriggling and squirming and hopping around together. I was even too excited to finish my chocolate chip cookies and glass of milk, which are my favourite Friday treats. When Mum got home, she kept looking at me and putting her hand on my head to see if I was feeling ill. I wanted more than anything to tell her about the greatest idea in the world, but we had all agreed to keep it a secret, and I thought it would be more fun to surprise Mum with it all later. I spent the whole weekend trying to stay as quiet as I could in case my mouth said something when I wasn't paying attention. And even when Mum took me to a farm to see goats and donkeys and rabbits for our Sunday adventure, I couldn't help thinking about the Queen and if she'd gotten our letter yet. The whole weekend seemed to take forever to finish. But just when I thought it never would, Monday morning finally arrived. When I got to the bus stop, Tom and Josie and Michael were all waiting. "She must have read it by now," said Michael, bumping into a lamppost with excitement. We all paused as he quickly regained his balance and put his glasses straight. "And I bet her special policemen are looking for Amet's family already," said Josie, starting to half skip and half walk again, bouncing her football up and down with a loud twang. "Yeah, I bet they're jumping from onto special planes right now to find them," said Tom, gripping to the straps of his rucksack as if it were a real parachute. We were still chatting excitedly as we got onto the bus and spent the whole journey imagining what else the Queen might be doing to help Amet. But Monday passed by, and even though I looked up at Mrs. Khan after break time, hoping she had something special to say, there was no sign that anything had happened at all. Miss Hemsey looked normal too, and when we asked Amet if anything exciting had happened to him, he looked puzzled and then said, "Bag not smell anymore. Look," before opening his rucksack and inviting each of us to smell it. On Tuesday, it was the same, except this time all of us were feeling more worried than excited, and the worms and butterflies and frogs in my tummy were starting to make me feel sick. "What if she never got the letter?" whispered Josie, as we were all making a drawing of different planets in the solar system. "What if it got lost in the post?" "I don't know," I whispered back, because I really didn't know. We have to think of something else," said Tom, glancing around to make sure that Mrs. Khan wasn't looking. "We've only got 3 days until the gates close." "Tom, back to work, please," ordered Mrs. Khan, looking our way. We all quickly put our heads down low, and I snuck a look over my shoulder at Amet, who was busy colouring in a large orange circle that was obviously Mars. Tom was right. For whatever reason, the Queen wasn't helping us yet, and we needed to think of something else. We needed an emergency plan. I looked at my half-finished drawing of the planet Earth and turned it over and decided to draw out an emergency plan instead. While everyone else copied out facts about their planets and learned them off by heart, I stared at the emergency plan and I wondered if it would work. I wasn't sure that it would, but Dad always said that you could only ever know if something would work or not after you had tried it first. And that afternoon on the bus home, I showed the others my emergency plan. Josie looked at me, and placing her football underneath her chin, she shook her head. "That's crazy!" "Yeah, we can't do that. We'd get detention for a year," said Tom. "It's the only way," I said, looking at it carefully. This is what it looked like. So the emergency plan. It involves getting on a train and going in a taxi all the way to Buckingham Palace and actually giving the letter to one of the special policemen and maybe getting a cup of tea with the Queen and then getting back in a taxi and Amet's mum and dad being found. It's a pretty wild plan. Michael shook his head. Expelled, he whispered, looking around the bus to make sure no one overheard anything. No, we wouldn't, I said, trying to sound more sure. The special police would never let us see her, said Michael. They will when we explain everything, I said. We'll go when she's having her tea. That way we can be sure she's in. Everyone fell silent. I could tell they were all thinking extra hard because Josie was biting her bottom lip and Tom was looking down at his tie with a frown and Michael was tapping his fingers on the lens of his glasses. After a few seconds, Tom looked up and asked, How will we afford the tube ticket? It's okay, I said. I've got some pocket money saved up. How much have you got? Asked Josie. £4.50, I whispered, so that nobody on the bus would hear. It would have been more, but I bought some extra sweets last week. That's not enough for a ticket, tutted Michael. I've got £11.32 at home that we can use. I'll bring my pocket money too, said Josie. Me too, said Tom, and all my brothers. But how are we going to get the tube tickets? Asked Michael. Won't the ticket office tell the police on us if they see us without a grown-up? We won't go to the ticket office. We'll just get them from the ticket machines, I said. I know how to use them. Mum shows me how to buy tickets all the time when we go on our adventures. Cool, said Josie, looking more sure. So, shall we all do it then? Tomorrow, I whispered. Josie nodded and twirled the football around in her fingers. Michael looked around and pushing up his glasses, he gave a nod. And Tom looked over at Josie and Michael before giving a thumbs up. Okay, I said as I tapped the end of my pencil against my cheek and looked at the plan again. I'll get some tea bags just in case she's not expecting us and runs out. I'll get some biscuits, promised Tom. I'll bring as much pocket money as I can, said Michael. And maybe we can all get a gift for the Queen, added Josie. You know, to make her want to help us. Should we wear anything special? Asked Tom. Don't people get dressed up when they're meeting the Queen? Like hats and dresses and crowns and things? Maybe we should put our best clothes on underneath our uniforms. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea, I said. And we can get changed in the toilets at the palace. Hold on. Michael looked at us. His large eyes were rounder and wider. We can't all go, can we? Mrs. Khan won't believe us if we say we're all sick on the same day. And what if she calls our parents? Everyone fell quiet again. We all wanted to go and see the Queen together, but Michael was right. After a few seconds, Josie said, I can stay behind. My parents don't like me being friends with Ahmet anyway. They'll probably get really mad if they find out I ran away from school for him. Let me go, said Tom. My uncle's a policeman in New York and says 411 and Tango Fox chicken and things, so I can talk to the Queen's special police. Michael sighed. Okay, I'll stay too, even though I've always really wanted to meet the Queen. Okay then, Tom will come with me, I said. Quick, it's our stop, cried Josie, frantically pushing the bell. Later that night, as I got ready for bed, I wondered what Dad would have said if he knew I was going on a special adventure to try and meet the Queen. I think he would have put on a record and danced around the living room just like he did whenever he was really happy. The last thoughts made all the worms and frogs and butterflies in my tummy settle down and helped me to fall into a deep sleep, filled with dreams of my dad dancing with the Queen. What an amazing plan. They think they're going to make their way into the centre of London to go to Buckingham Palace to meet the Queen. Now, obviously, we wouldn't ever do that without an adult, but in this story, I think it's going to add an exciting twist to see whether or not they actually get to meet the Queen and whether she'll be able to help them. I hope you enjoyed that chapter. I look forward to chapter 18. Bye for now.